Hello, Internet. It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you with a Pokemon sales data video. Not a lot of data to go over, like almost nothing. So I will talk about kind of part two, what I was going, feeling, sorry, Dashi, about yesterday, um, which yesterday was just about when to invest and how much to invest and all that. So, but to start off, the Rocket set, we have a Dark Alakazam First Edition PSA 9, so for 305. Those have stayed pretty steady. Those haven't decreased at all. If anything, I think they've increased a little bit. And then a Dark Blastoise, First Edition PSA 9, so for 703. Is it an increase from a few months ago when it was like 300 per card? Yes. Is it a decrease from when it was like 1200 a card? Yes. But again, if people are willing to pay 1200, so if it drops down, buy the dip. Buy the dip. Sorry. The dips for Lugia, I think, are over as of yesterday. Yesterday, we had a Lugia First Edition PSA 6 sell for $780. We've had people pay $1,500 for PSA 6. Granted, it had a swirl in it. The ones yesterday's did not. But buy the freaking dip, because today, that is over. Remember, a couple weeks ago when you could buy a PSA 8 Lugia First Edition for $2,000? Well, a 7 just sold for $2,150. So I do not believe you are going to get 8s for $2,000 again. There's a couple on sale right now. They're already at like $2,300. So it's maybe it's just we went up here, a little bit of a correction. Maybe it's gonna go like this. I don't know, but from what I'm seeing, yeah, that's a little bit of a dip. But now, because there's not a lot of product out there. I just checked for a couple of stuff, and now granted, there's a lot of sales going on, and there's a lot of stuff out there. Like I checked for Giovanni's Nidoking. The cheapest out there was like $1,000. So I put mine for like $950 or $900 or best offer. So to make mine the cheapest out there, and it's a good quality card, it's coming from me. And I also did that with Koga's Ditto. Again, there's only like two of them out there. Same with Giovanni's Nidoking. There's two of them out there. Cheapest was $1,000. Koga's Ditto was the cheapest was $575 or best offer, but it had one picture. That back is messed up when they only put one picture. Now, if it was someone that had like one or two feedback and they didn't know to put the back picture, just first picture, whatever. Okay, or if it was a major card house where they have tens of thousands of things of inventory and they just don't have the time to do that, they just take a stock photo, that's fine too. But for someone that had a decent amount of feedback, only through one photo, they've done this before, it's probably a little messed up. But speaking of Gym Challenge cards, we have a Rockets Mewtwo, First Edition PSA 10, sold for $1,630. I was about to upload one of mine, because the cheapest that you can get is $2,000. I'm like, I'll put mine up for $1,800. But mine's in the bank. Anything over $1,000, I put in the bank. So I will definitely, what's that called? Go to the bank tomorrow, get a Lugia First Edition PSA 7, although I don't want to. I'll put that up for like $2,500 or best offer. Maybe I'll start fielding offers at like $2,000, since this one sold for $2,150, and someone just buys it, they buy it. I don't want to. This is not so. I'm always the first. I've been the first to say, do not sell Charizards, do not sell Lugias, because again, Charizard is the most coveted item in the hobby. Lugia is probably a close second. Now, maybe you can make the argument, okay, Pikachu, there's lots of Pikachus, and that's what. But there's so much product out there. Lugia, it's not like Lugia has there's a bunch of different versions like Pikachu, and granted, there's a bunch of different versions of Charizard, but Charizard, you have that First Edition, very, 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 very rare, Shadowless, arguably even more rare, just not as coveted because it doesn't have that First Edition stamp, and Unlimited, which everyone has. There's a bunch of those everywhere. I have one right now. I have two right now. But Lugia, again, as soon as Lugia gets on the scene, there are already 5 different Charizards. You had the First Edition, the Shadowless, the Unlimited. You had the Rockets Charizard. You had the Rockets Charizard Unlimited. You had the Rockets Charizard non-holo. The Unlimited, yeah, so that was a thing. The non-holo Unlimited as well. Then you have a Blaine's Charizard. And I'm glad they fixed it with this, a Blaine's Charizard, non-First Edition. Then I guess you have the corrected version with, instead of the Fighting Energy, it's the... So you have 10 just there. That's not including the reprints of, like, the Legendary Collection Charizard, the Reverse Holo Charizard, and then you have the base set 2 Charizard. So there's 13 different variations of Charizard before Lugia gets on the scene. And then you have first edition and unlimited. And the unlimited Lugia is not like the unlimited Charizard, which had like 11 different print runs. It's actually the unlimited version of Lugia is actually rarer than the first edition thing of Lugia. It's bananas. And there's only like Lugia has 41 PSA 10 copies, first edition. Unlimited has like 12. And one of my boys has it, and it's like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to value that as, because the last one sold like 3 years ago for like $500. I don't know what to value it as. $5,000, $8,000, $10,000. I don't know. I don't know what's right because there's no data to pull from. I do risk and market and data analysis. If there's no data, I can make guesstimates. If a 9 sells for $1,000, the 10 might sell for $5,000 to $8,000, but because there's so few of them and a sale hasn't happened in 3 years, which is like 9 years in Pokemon time, I don't know. I don't know exactly what to say. Yeah, I do not want to sell this Lugia. I even have an 8 right now up for sale for 4K or best offer, and even though I know 8s are going for like maybe $3,000 right now, I just don't want to sell. I just don't want to sell. And yes, will that help take some stress off of me, off of the fact that I have the $20,000 left on the Trophy Kangaskhan, and I have a bunch of other stuff to pay for, and I have taxes coming on there. Breathe, Chavez. I don't want to. I shouldn't. In fact, what I'm going to do is I uploaded already the Giovanni's Nidoking and the Koga's Ditto. I'm going to upload maybe a Sabrina's Alakazam, and then I'm definitely uploading Rocket's Mewtwo, and then I'm probably going to upload a Rocket Zapdos as well. That'll help me feel better. Blaine's Arcanine, first edition PSA 8, sold for $285. What the fudge? That is super undervalued. And I saw the person had good feedback, and there was a lot. There was 2 pictures. I wish I would have seen that. I would have bought it because that is bananas cheap for PSA 8. If a 9, well, the 9's been going between like $725 and like $1,100. So I think this should be like $600 if the 9 is 11. But if the last 9 sold for 7, I mean it's still a little low. But I think this should probably be $500 if the 9 is going for 1,000 or more. Anyway, that is just me. Again, also somebody asked yesterday, what's thoughts on Modern? Like, are there more kids today that collect and play Modern and they're into it? Yes. Back in the day, I was lucky enough to be on the East Coast where you can go to Toys R Us and you can have tournaments, and I competed in those. I played in those. I was pretty decent in those. It took me a little while because at first, like, I was just like, oh no, can't we just like, battle? Oh, it's 100. Yeah, it's whatever. But no, at some point there was just like, yeah, all right, I get it. Get enough wins, get a badge. It's pretty good. But on the opposite end of that, there were some people that didn't have that. They didn't have a Toys R Us. They didn't have places to do that. You were lucky if you were on a coast or near a big city where you could do that, and you can get invited to other tournaments and stuff. But I think more than half the country did not have that. And nowadays, where you can do that online, you can do that wherever. I guess now not during COVID, but nowadays, it's so much more out there. The marketing budget is so huge. Now, granted, Pokemon was everywhere when we were younger, and it kind of still is today, but in a different way. Everyone knew and they collected the cards, but the incentive for competing today is a lot higher than it was years ago. Worlds, you didn't go to Worlds back in the day. If you did, there was maybe a few countries there. Now there's like 50 different countries there. So it's a lot bigger now, and you could make the argument that in 20 years, a lot of these kids over the world, not just in the U.S., not just in Japan, are going to be nostalgic for these cards. Maybe. And I think, you can make that argument pretty correctly and effectively. But I also think that a bunch of these kids, even though they might be nostalgic for these cars, because that's what they grew up with, are also going to think, hey, wait a minute. What are the origins of... Everyone loves an origin story. Where did these cards come from? What was the first print of these cards? And some might go to like Cardass and Topson, the greenback, bluebacks. But a lot of people are going to go to WotC. Again, it's my opinion that WotC, that's the first. Now, that first edition base set, that's going to be the top of the top, first to first. Then you have Jungle and Fossil. Again, my favorite is Gym Challenge, just because you get to see all those cards. All of the Pokemon that you're pretty sure these trainers had, they have. Confirmed in the cards. And because you don't see it in the show, because you don't see it in the games, doesn't mean they didn't have it. They have those Pokemon in the manga, have those Pokemon in the cards. I went over a theory about that on why you don't see it in the games, because you only have a certain amount of badges when you go and fight them, and that was just plugged into the games. But now you get to see all of them, and you get to see all of what they have in that artwork. I just think it's beautiful. Koga's Ditto. That is the first appearance of Koga having a Ditto. Even in the games, in the anywhere. He doesn't have it in the manga, doesn't have it in the show, but he has it in the card. So there's a lot of historics about that set, which I thoroughly enjoy. But again, that just happens to be my favorite set. But the big ones, that's going to be anything first edition WotC. I guess Gold Stars too. But then outside of that, it's going to be base set. Fossil and Jungle, the first appearances of those Pokemon cards. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be similar to comics. Just my theory on it. This is the real Randy Chavez, bringing you a Slytherin Harry Potter shirt. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Dab. Sorry. I don't know why I did that. I love you guys. Bye.